Dave's to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episodes 9 through to 12, or Week 3, Chris. Now, Chris, where would you like to start today?
It's easy for you to say, David.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the third week, and I've got to say, by the end of this week, Dave, this has been a brilliant fucking MAFS week. And I know we're behind, and I know like a lot of people listening, and we really appreciate everyone going back if you're caught up or you're near the end of this series as it's been shown in Australia. But my word, it's been a cracker. So we started this week with we lost Tim and Katie, Dave. Very surprised by that because when they sat down at the commitment ceremony, I was expecting Tim. Mr. fucking personality, Mr. fucking shallow Hal, thinks he's fucking an Adonis, to stay. And when Katie said leave, I thought he is definitely staying. And he wouldn't take accountability again, would he, for anything? I was quite shocked, I'll be honest with you. I honestly thought the producers had meddled in that relationship more. But Katie was gone once, she absolutely gone. So I was happy they've gone for Katie. In some respects, I'm like, well, we sort of need Tim as well because he's a complete bellend. But anyway, yeah, I think it was the right decision.
I think it was the right decision. But like you said, I was surprised. I thought he'd stick around. I thought he'd absolutely want to squeeze the pips out of being on this show. And because he's got such a lack of self-awareness, would not even care about all of the negative signals and all the way he was coming across at all. But yeah, I guess somewhere inside there, he's just thought, yeah, I'm taking a lot of heat here. It's not worth sticking around. So I thought he was going to have a bigger role to play in this whole season, I've got to say. But if we're going with the original premise of the show, Chris, yeah, it's absolutely the right decision that they've gone. But just, we don't normally see that.
No, we don't. We don't, as the audience, get what we want, Dave, usually with these Muppets. And it is, as I say, I wanted him to go. I wanted him to get his comeuppance. And John did lay into him and everything. And he was quite open about that. But then when he decided to leave, I was like, oh, maybe he has got some morals. Maybe that primary school teacher has got some morals, Dave. I don't know. He was a dick anyway, wasn't he? No, he hasn't.
I don't think it's anything to do with morals. I think it's just, well, A, he definitely didn't want to stay there for Katie, but B, I think he knew how he was coming across on some level. And, this whole thing about saying his fucking type being the small petite and stuff, I'm like, all right, but you're a school teacher, mate. There's going to be a big cohort of your own fucking group that you're teaching there. But I do believe he has lost his job, I think I've seen somewhere. And I have to say, Chris, I've been desperately trying to stay away from spoilers. When I got to the end of this week, and because I know all the episodes are out there if you want to go and watch them, when we got to the end of this week, I was like, oh, I just really want to watch the next episode. But I was like, oh, no, because I'm going to fuck it up when, because I'll know. So when you and I speak, I'll know what happens after. But yeah, but I tell you, it's more tempted than I've ever felt, I think, about just, let's just watch ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Dave. Because if I try and because obviously I do the editing for this one, and I always try and get a picture of one of the characters from the show. And you have to make sure you're in Google Images, Dave, because if not, the actual headlines reveal, are this couple still together, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. So anyway, I'm with you on that. And that's the thing. Obviously, we're doing it this way with the UK Showtime, aren't we? Which I totally get as well, which makes sense. But I must admit, it was like, oh, you bastards, you absolute bastards. Yeah. Every time I'm like, there's a bit of a lull or we get these stupid, I'm not a massive fan of like the flat activities when they're in the apartments together and it's just mundane life shit, isn't it? There's not a lot going on. It's the dinner party, the commitment ceremony, they're what bring the heat. I know you've got to basically watch the other stuff to build up a story for that week, but it just doesn't ring true. However, Dave, I'm saying that, Dave, but who would have thought Ryan? And I'm going to call myself out. Last week, I did say I wasn't a fan of Jackie more than Ryan. Dave, I'm not a fan of either of them, but if he had a bullet to my head, a gun to my head, I think it'd be fucking Jackie would pick first as someone I'd save in the show, because Ryan, absolute bellend. And that line about them as a couple calling nothing's happening. However, apparently she's good at certain things, which you don't reveal in any fucking context if you've got a bit of respect for your partner, Dave, because what goes on in the bedroom, just stay in the bedroom. And yeah, it was great TV, and the shocked thumbnail YouTube faces that everyone did was brilliant. But I have got something off the back of that I want to talk about. So what did you think of that? Because that was like the little teaser going into the dinner party, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, utterly disrespectful. But that was just one thing, when they did. It was the intimacy week, wasn't it? And she's sort of there in a skimpy little outfit and stuff, just wanting to have some compliments. And he's like, "No, I'm not saying that because it's not true." I'm like, look, he's just got no fucking. I don't know. Does he? Is this a Men in Black job? Is he actually an alien and he's never interacted with humans before? It just comes across in that way sometimes, where he just doesn't. Certainly, women he doesn't seem to have like interacted with before. But yeah, the whole comment to the lads, and like you say, the shocked faces from all the boys. Yeah, I don't want to speak about the dinner party scene too quick, but obviously that was the big theme, wasn't it? About this comment, and it was just disrespectful, but it failed on every level. It wasn't funny. It's not as if I don't know what goes on in his head, but yeah, what an utter tit.
It was because it was that line, wasn't it? When she's in front of him, basically saying, "What do you think?" You've got to be complimentary. That's supposed to be like your lady, and he's just sort of like, "Yeah." It's like he was looking at a dessert, like someone had put sticky toffee pudding on his table after a meal, and he's like,
"Chocolate fondant,
lovely. Yeah, that's lovely. A bit of custard, lovely." And I don't know whether that's him as a person. I can't work out whether like he's autistic or something, because he says stuff, and I'm like, oh no, he has no awareness. So sometimes I'm thinking that, but Jackie is not a great person, but she certainly didn't deserve that, Dave, at all, did she? At least she's trying in the context of the show. And he is just bizarre. And the way they doubled down, though, at the dinner party, and she defended him. Then she was like, no, I've never liked him. I didn't want him. I didn't order him. And I'm like, make your mind up. 1 minute, you're in tandem together. They'd had an agreement, hadn't they, not to basically to back each other.
Yeah.
And he must have come up with that. Brian must have known this was coming up.
No. I think for balance, I don't think Ryan has the brain cells to come up with that strategy. I think going in with that strategy was all about Jackie. I think they'd obviously discussed a lot of the details, because he'd made a comment about the crazy eyes, didn't he? And this was something that what was his name? Was it Jake who made that comment in a derogatory way initially, and then Ryan had repeated it, but then she's sort of just all okay with it. So yeah, I've got crazy eyes, but that's easy, isn't it? So when you come in with that battle plan, and what is it Mike Tyson said? It's everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And I think their plan just didn't stand up to much, did it? Because people kept going on at them, and it just didn't compute. Like, what? You're totally okay with that? And I think Billy didn't like it. Dave didn't like it. So they all kept chipping away. And eventually, like you say, she just sort of snapped and went completely the other way. And I loved the talking heads bit where you could see his sort of miserable face after Ryan. He's like, yeah, I wasn't really happy. We said we were backing each other.
You know what, though, Dave? I will say that, and you're right about the guys sort of weren't happy. Why did they say something when they were with Alexandra? It was all producer based. This was the story. Whether Ryan said this and the producers have asked him to come up with some elaborate story, because all the guys are telling the partners, aren't they? All the partners, they're all getting ready. And like, oh, it's terrible, this, blah, blah. And they're so shocked by it. Billy, of all people, he's shocked by it, Dave. Oh, it's terrible. That's so disrespectful. And it was disrespectful. But he then brings it up in the dinner party. And it's like, come on, could this not look any more like the producers have gone, don't say anything. Bring it to the table. Honestly, as much as I liked Ryan squirming and what happened with Jackie in that, it just felt too forced to me, because who is Billy out of it? I'm not saying he's worse than Ryan, because he's not. He's not really done a lot, and he certainly didn't do a lot with Sierra this week, Dave. He probably, if he'd used his spidey sense, there was Anyway, I'll move on for that because I'm digging myself a hole. But what I'm saying is, Dave, that Billy just was so obvious that they'd said to him, just bring this up. We need this. Right. Put a pin in that. Bring it up. And yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that, as I just said, it's squirming, but I didn't like that it just felt the producers just had their hands all over this scene for me.
I don't know. I mean, some of it might be, I mean, there's a lot of producer-led stuff, but I also think the contestants in there, I think they play into it as well. Yes. Because the dinner parties have just become this legendary thing now, haven't they? A lot of people, if MAFS wasn't a thing and, you just suddenly started, so season 1, this is the experiment, you're going to do some activities in the week, then you're going to have a dinner party at the end, and you're all interacting like normal human beings. If something's pissing you off, and enough for you to bring it up, then you'd probably bring it up in a quiet one-to-one or something like that. You wouldn't wait till a fucking dinner party where everyone's there and you're shouting across the table. But I think the contestants themselves kind of lean into it. I think they will intentionally sit on stuff and not mention it, and they know they're going to walk into the drama. And I'll bet, if you think you might have some heat coming your way, well, you want to keep a few bullets in your back pocket. You want to make sure you've got plenty of ammunition to go at someone else. So I think it's the contestants themselves who are playing into it, or the couples, or whatever you want to call them.
You know what? That's probably more it, really. As you've said it, you're probably right. It is that, isn't it? It's like they're all aware. Everyone's aware of what gives them a storyline.
Yeah.
If we're to believe, because we know they're all fake. We talk about it all the time. We know that really there's only going to be 1 or 2 couples who might make it after the first month or so at the end of the show. So maybe, yeah, that is probably more plausible than me saying the producers have jumped into it. It just felt so predetermined. Right. We were going to, just so. I mean, look, it was great TV. I can't knock it, because that was sort of like the actual pinnacle. Well, it was the pivotal moment in the whole dinner party, because from nowhere, Dave, Marina, she'd throw a fucking 2 pence into Ryan. It had all died down, hadn't it? Everyone had said it's disgusting, and then she. Well, I just think she's such a strange character, and then she just started, and even the girls were like, "It was about 5-10 minutes ago. What the fuck's going on?" And she had to have a two pence in, and I do want to talk about her, but I mean, that whole thing with Ryan was just like, no, you should have done that at the start. But she feels that she has to say something there, doesn't she? Is like her and Tony, the older couple of the group. I don't know. Very, very odd exchange for me, that.
Gotta say, Chris, Marina did my fucking head in this week. She is hard fucking work. Now, what you say, the way the edit looked, it made it look like everyone had a go at Ryan, and then everything had calmed down. And then she's doing the clicky fingers, the pointy finger that she does. She's like fucking, she'd be called Karen, shouldn't she, really? But, she has a go after. And I don't know, it's just, I think it was consistent with the character that we've seen for the whole week, to be honest. When we were in week 1, and she seemed like this, person full of life. She'd had this horrible marriage. this guy who didn't love her at all, and then now she's a DJ, she's fully out there and everything. Chris, I'm starting to question about where we're getting our information from about how bad this guy was. I don't know. He's lasted 29 years. I don't know. It seems like that'd be a war of attrition. So I just felt she came across very poorly all week. I felt sorry for Tony. I think Tony could communicate better in certain circumstances. And I think after the whole painting, it seemed like he'd realized he wasn't putting enough in. But then, I don't know, it's just it came across really badly. What do you think, Chris, about Morena this whole week?
Well, I think you've been very diplomatic there, Dave, because I'm with you. I do not, because it was Paul had to go at it, didn't he, about the way she speaks to Tony, or she doesn't let Tony speak. And he said he'd heard her screaming in the corridor, and she, for some reason, there's that thing in it where like she's like, "How dare him?" And she called him a little boy, Dave. Now, I'm not being funny. If the roles had been reversed, there had been fucking uproar.
Well, she didn't like being called, what was it, Senora or something?
A Senora, apparently, as well, which Tony had said to her, didn't he? He didn't, I don't know why. Oh, no, the guys called her that, sorry. The guys called it, it was Paul, wasn't it? So she did last week. Sorry, you're right. And she didn't like that. Don't understand that at all. But then this whole situation, like Paul calls her, she starts having a dig at him, calling her a little boy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm with you. So she's been married to someone for 29 years. Now, there's a massive case, and there is always two sides to every story. So they're usually the truth's in the middle, that she has been so quiet. She's been so sort of henpecked, everything. She has been so like down on herself. She said she hasn't had a voice. And maybe this is it. She's gone. So listen. I'm trying to level it out here before what I say. However, Dave, I think that her ex-husband has not been able to speak for 29 fucking years because no matter what anybody said, she jumped in. And even when they were talking, she was offended that they didn't let her speak. And Tony said it. And what was bizarre was she laid into everyone. She was going on about Tony. When Tony was trying to speak, and he went, "Just let me speak." And he's like, "I've paid for your fucking kids to come out here and everything." It's like, hang on a minute. This is not anything we need on the show and all this, and laying into it. And it's like, what? And then all of a sudden, as soon as he sort of sunk in what he said, she went, "Let's have a toast to Tony, the Godfather." And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I don't think her husband has been the one who's done that. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a guy. Too many times she's come out with, I said last week, it was bizarre, this whole thing why she was offended by the young guys not talking to her. And that's why she put them in, didn't speak to me. And it was like, it was a real like ego thing, their bruised ego and everything and all that. And that's not a nice thing. I understand as you get older, we all still think we're like 20 odd. I totally understand it. But with her, there is no fucking way that is true what she said. I do not believe it. And even when Tony was speaking, you can see she's itching to jump. Now, someone who, we talk about this with ourselves, ADHD, I know with my ADHD at times, I can be like that. What? Sorry, Dave, what you say? He's talking over you, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to Dave. But it is something that I know sometimes when I'm really fucking heightened, I've got to just say it. And he's got me in trouble plenty of times at work for that, where I'm like, I'm not having that. I've got to say something. If I don't, it fucking burns up inside me. But with her, the same, I can see, because she's almost like lip reading Tony as well when they're side on. And I'm like, I can relate to that a lot. There's a way of doing that, and that is not the way to do it. But not just that, she's plain fucking rude as well. So I think Tony's having a really bad time with her. I think when they're saying they're leading separate lives, I think it's more a case of he's fucking getting out of that apartment and just disappearing because he's like, this is too much for me. She's got too much energy and she has no self-awareness. It's everyone else's fault but hers. And usually when you're like that, and we can all be like that, we all have a blind spot for our own awareness when we're in the wrong. It's only afterwards sometimes you can reflect and go, yeah, I think I was a bit of a dick there. I don't think she has that in her arsenal, Dave. I mean, we're making great TV and a great contestant, but I'm not buying any of that bullshit.
Yeah, I did think it was brave though. When Paul started having a go at her, I was like, "Oh mate, I don't think you realise what you're doing here." And then it was it Jamie saying, "Oh, you don't have a go at." They always emphasise the Italianness of the name, don't they? So they don't call her Morena; they call her Marena or something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Tony might end up with a fucking horse's head in his bed if it carries on. So you're saying about the ADHD. But to me, when he's speaking, the glare, the scowl that Moreno's shooting at, I mean, it looks like she wants to put a fucking knife in him. So I don't know if it's an ADHD thing, but definitely there is something going on there. And I don't see that she's got any allies in there. I don't think it's just long suffering Tony. I don't think any of the other couples are really warming to her.
No, and I mean, you don't know who this person is, but Sam had a friend years ago. And when we first got to Sam's best mate and everything, but everyone used to meet her and go, I really wouldn't like to have a fucking argument with her, Dave. Honestly, I could never win an argument with her. Not that I wanted one. I'd be like, even a disagreement. And she was like an alpha, this friend of Sam's. I mean, it's nothing to do with that now. They haven't spoke for years, but she was like Morena, where it was like, oh, like you say about Paul. I know there's a few times where some of my friends had spoke up with Sam's friend. You were like, that's the worst thing you could have done now. You are on her hit list and you're never leaving that hit list for as long as we're going to be friends. And that happened many a time, David. So, yeah, so there was a lot of PTSD there, I must admit, for Morena. She just reminded me of something. It was just bizarre. I was like, oh, no. The best thing to do, keep quiet. Maybe call her when she's not in the room. Don't do it to her face because you're not going to win. And like you said, Dave, if there's any blunt or sharp objects, I'd probably move them out of it.
I just keep thinking back to, you remember Life of Brian, where he jumps into the hole, and I think it's Michael Palin playing the character. He's not spoken for 30 years or something. I just imagine, and he has the juniper bushes, and he hasn't spoken. I just imagine that's Morena's old ex-husband.
Dave, I'm getting fucking PTSD myself, Life of Brian. That's where all the nose jokes started for me with my friends. That's it at the start.
We've got to cover that on the VHS. Right? I just love that line. You're not so bad yourself, conk face. Where are you two from? Nose City.
Nose City.
It's just
so dumb. That day.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so Dave, I will say, I don't know, we'll maybe we should just go through the couples before we get the next bit of scandal that's coming. So, sort of teeing it up for you, really. But Athena, so I've been saying her name wrong. I apologise, everybody. Athena and Adrian. Not going to last. I said fuckboy. Our last week was the same. And I know we're going to talk about what happened at the end of the week, but he is just treating her like he's a little kid. And he has just been mothered his whole life, has no idea how a relationship should go. And perfect reality TV fodder, to be honest. But yeah, what a dick he is, Dave.
He is. And I do appreciate the producers put the subtitles in for us. Because
I can't understand him.
He's
fucking word he's saying.
In a way, isn't he? Apparently he is like native Australian, but I don't know, he fucking mumbles there. He definitely does need the subtitles.
I can't, swear to God, I cannot understand a word he says. And I, watched loads of the Aussie soaps. Even I can't fucking say it. The soaps, everything over the years, But there's times there where I was going, why is the subtitles on going, Ryan? Because nobody can understand him. But he's just a devious fuckboy, isn't he? That's all he is. He's a bit of a snake. He's there for the show, for any celebrity status he's going to get. And I even questioning what happened at the end when we get the sort of what's happening next thing as well. I just feel that's a producer thing. But, I'm here for it, Dave. I'm here for the drama. But, yeah. I don't know. What a dick he is.
Yeah, I just get frustrated, to be honest, with Athena. It's like, how many red flags do you need exactly? I mean, she seems to understand it a little bit more. By the end of the dinner party, she seemed to like be waking up to the fact he doesn't give a fuck about her. And with the whole motherhood thing, he's made his mind up. He just doesn't want to leave the show, and he's quite enjoying himself. You know, they seem to have a lot of physical chemistry, don't they? But there's no way they're going to last, and I don't see the point. I'm totally checked out on this couple because I don't see the point of them hanging around. Apart from, as you just alluded to there, what we got to at the end, I guess there's going to be a bit of drama in that direction. But yeah, as a couple, no way they're going to work.
No, not at all. I'm with you. I'm with you. And then obviously we talked about Jackie Ryan, but then we've got Sierra and Billy. Dave, Sierra's there asking him to rub lotion on. I know there's the context of it. He comes out and he's budgie smugglers. He's there, you know, tattooed up. She's there, ready to boiled up. What does he do? Almost like he's putting sun cream on like his sister or his mate or something. Starts rubbing her back. You know, she's no bra on or anything, Dave. We've got side boob going on. Like, I get it, we're in a show. But if that doesn't help you think, I'm in with a chance, well, I don't know what fucking else to say, Dave. I really don't know what to say because I'm not understanding a lot of these couples, if I'm being honest. And this one, it makes perfect sense now, but that was literally an open goal, Dave.
And she does seem like quite a sexual woman. I mean, she's done like dropping the gown and everything to show she's naked, and he's just like, "Oh, right, nice, yeah, well done." It's like, come on, man. I prefer Dave's reaction when Jamie got the lingerie out, and he's just like, basically, camera crew, off you go on, get out of here.
Yeah,
You know, you'd have to think in the same position, you'd be the same. It's like, look, off you, fuck, I'm busy, go on. But clearly, for whatever reason, Billy is just not into her at all, and I don't understand it because she is absolutely stunning. But he's clearly made his mind up. I mean, they have had sex, haven't they? Apparently, but like once, and then I think he just seems checked out, and he's sort of friend zoning her.
yeah, it's bizarre, that, isn't it? But unless he's picking up on a vibe, Dave, which we'll talk about in a minute. So, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, Ashley and Jake, Dave, and maybe I should have brought them up at the start with Tim and what's the name? Who left there?
Okay.
Katie, yeah. They've gone as well. I think that was probably the right decision. I don't think he did himself any favours last week. And I don't think in the group context, he would have been very welcomed by everyone. So, yeah, I think that was the right thing.
Yeah, definitely. I do think it was just when we discussed Jake's comments last week, I said it. I think he's just trying to be funny, and he's not funny, but it's just come off really, really badly. But he obviously, I don't know, he probably felt attacked, and like you said, maybe he wouldn't have got over that. The group would have held it against him. That would have been a reoccurring theme. So he just decided he was going to bugger off, and she was a bit annoyed because that sort of cuts her experience short as well.
Yeah, well, we've had that before, haven't we? Like you were saying about Adrian as well in other series. I love Adrian. That's the reason he's here. Lorena and Tony, Dave, I know we've talked about them, but I don't think there's anything going on here. I'd be surprised. They might find a happy medium. I think he definitely needs to sort of listen to him. And I do think you're right, though, Dave. I do think his communication isn't great. Is that because he's not allowed to speak and have an opinion? So I am sort of Team Tony in this relationship at the moment. Anyway, I know it can change.
Yeah, I can't think of a single person who would make Morena happy. Can you?
No. Honestly, no.
I just can't imagine someone. I don't think Tony is really that far off. You know, someone for that kind of age group, and but as soon as something goes wrong, that's it. Fucking hell, there's hell to pay. So yeah, I don't know how long they'll last, but I can't imagine it being very long.
No, I'm with you. Jamie and Dave, obviously, They are fully sexualized. They're very, very touchy-feely. You know, Jamie, she does like getting involved in stuff, but Dave just seems that calm earth rod I think she needs, doesn't she? Like this he's the calm. You're laughing at you. Fucking
So
earth rod.
just the earth rod. I just
That wasn't you.
No, I know it wasn't a euphemism, but in my head it was a euphemism. I just think the size of him and the size of her, I just don't get the mechanics of it. And she did say, "Oh, we're the same height lying down," but I don't think height is the main issue there. Clearly, they seem to be managing, but yeah, I'm sort of obsessed. You know, when they're on screen, it's just like when he's sat down, he's just a fucking giant of a man, isn't he? So yeah, just the mechanics of it all, Chris, baffles me.
Fucking brilliant. Yeah, but when she's saying though she's the same height as him lying down, does she mean his whole body, or is that just in proportion to his height? Move on, Chris. Move on.
Yeah.
Karina and Paul, Dave. Now these two are really loved up, haven't they? They've gone to the next level. They are. She even said we had to kick the camera crew out, Dave. I mean, I'm not being funny. If it was me there, Dave, and it was like kick the camera crew out, I'd just go for a quick brew and come.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was getting the old intimacy thing. She was all dressed up and stuff, wasn't she? I think, you know, as a bloke, you got all the fucking camera crew there. I can imagine you'd be getting a bit of sweat on.
Yeah, that's the
tucking
problem.
it in your elastic band.
Those were the days, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be getting on really well. You can't really pick any faults. I think, wasn't Billy asking them at the dinner party, actually, give us one negative thing, and she was really struggling about it. So then she said something about, he leaves his stuff outside when he's having a shower or something like that. Something really small, but yeah, they seem to be getting on really well together, and they look great together. So out of all the couples, yeah, they seem to be doing quite well.
They do, to be fair. I think it's them two at the moment, and Dave and Jamie. And then Rhea and Jeff's an odd one, though, because obviously they've been there before. They've been intimate before the show. And, you know, there is something, and I don't know, it's like this friend zone thing raises its head again, doesn't it? And I can't get my head around. I mean, she's really good looking, Jeff's good looking guy. I know it's not just about looks, but you're like, they seem very compatible. Maybe it's because they've been in a prior relationship. Maybe it didn't end as amicable as what they're playing out on the show. I don't know, but I don't think it's Rhea. I think it's Jeff, to be honest. I think he's the one who's very hands off, and he's sort of like, oh yeah, well, we've kissed now. We're hoping it'll take us out the friend zone. And I'm like, there's something off about this. I still can't work out what the dynamic is, if I'm being honest. But again, they're not doing anything wrong. And I think as a couple, in the context of this show, yeah, they'll last another couple of weeks, I think, as we're going.
Yeah, I'm the same, Chris. I'm a little bit baffled by them. They'd said it just kind of fizzled out, but I don't know the way they're behaving, because they seem to get on. They seem to be progressing on a friendship level, but it's just nothing's really progressed. You'd expect it to have progressed by now, wouldn't you? You know, given where all the other couples are. And I don't know, the fact that they've been intimate before, you'd have thought, well, that would probably make it a bit easier to take it to that level. But yeah, I don't know. If it wasn't for that prior relationship, I don't think I'd be as confused about where they are. But yeah, we'll see where they go. But yeah, there's some missing ingredient. There's something that we're not seeing. I think, so let's see where they go.
Well, yeah. And to top it all off, Dave, to round everything off, the camera, I mean, I'm throwing questions to the camera work, Dave. Why is the camera at the dinner party looking under the table, Dave, in the first place? So that's my first, Poirot, or should I say Columbo, just one more thing, Dave.
Don't agree with that. In the workplace.
Nobody who's not watched, who's watched the, other than hasn't watched The Office UK, would he has watched The Office UK, but there you go. Eric Hitchmo, legend. But
Coventry.
I'm questioning. Yeah, well, exactly. Sounds nothing like him, Dave. But anyway, I can't understand why the camera works under there anyway. So they're picking up on they show the legs, don't they, at the end of like, and you're like, what's going on here? And then I'm like, oh, they're not playing footsie, are they? And it's Sierra, Dave, and Adrian. Now, is this another gym hookup where we get them both in the gym, not sweating, fully make-upped up, just stood around like Tower? I've had a great session. Yeah, you don't look like you've had a session. You've done absolutely nothing, but we're in a gym. I don't get where this has come from. But Sierra, at that point, Dave, she goes from like, playing the game to like, oh, hello. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. As much as I know it's all bullshit and the producers have teed this up to, absolutely up to us, I'm like, oh, I'm here for it. Like you said, I want to watch next week's episodes now because we're going to get to the commitment ceremony, and the preview we've got basically outs them both from nowhere. There has been no indication. That's the only thing that pisses me off with this sort of thing. There has been no indication between these two of any communication, or in the edit that hasn't, Dave. So to now pull this switcheroo and this full like new couple cheating scandal, I love it. And I'm here for it, and I can't wait to speak to you about it next week. But also, you're like, hang on a minute, why have you just teed this up now? I don't know. I can't work out what's going on here, but that is going to kick off royally, Dave.
I love the fact that it's the same formula that we've seen for a good few seasons now. So we know we're being played in some way. We don't know exactly how, like you say, with the camera shot. I mean, it's a bit questionable if you got cameras trained looking under the table all the time, especially given some of those dresses. So it just seems a bit odd that the cameras would pick that up. And we did get a little bit of a comment. So she said, so Sierra had said that she spent most of the day with Adrian, but that was like about 10 seconds before we got a little bit of the game of footsie. That was literally all it was. But the fact that since that, I can't remember, what was it, Karina or something? And was it Jackson or someone like that? Can't remember the names. But since that episode, a few seasons ago, Carolina, that's it. And we always get a cheating scandal.
Yes.
Like always, every season.
UK, Aussie, yeah.
Yeah. And it's happened every season since that first season when it first happened. And I just think it can't just be complete chance. Because let's face it, I mean, a lot of them there, if the couples aren't working, it's probably like a fucking Roman orgy, isn't it? Down at the gym. So why don't you have lots of these cheating scandals? Well, if you had lots of them, it'd dilute all the drama, wouldn't it? Probably. So, let's have one cheating scandal in the season. It just feels written, feels scripted.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then you're thinking, well, are these two the plants? Is that why? I mean, we're saying that Sierra, she was playing the game with Billy, and I don't know what's going on, but Adrian has looked more of a plant than anybody on this show so far for me. I'll be honest, Dave. He has, and he comes in. There's the twin. We've got the two twins with Athena, a twin, and he's got twin sisters. So we've got all that. They look compatible. And again, you're like, but he's not asked, is he? He's just not been bothered from what we've seen. So, yeah, I'm here, Dave, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch it because I want to see whether it delivers or it's just a bit of a flash in the pan. But I don't think Athena's going to put up with that at all. Yeah. Not with her son, she's not going to introduce this Belen to her son's life if he's doing shit like this. And he's not bothered about his son at all. I think that's what's put him off straight away, to be honest.
No, and I can't remember who I said this about. Was it last season or the season before in MAFS? But I think Sienna just needs a scratching post in her room, given the lack of attention that Billy's given to her. And maybe she's just sick of not getting that attention. So she's just finding it elsewhere with Adrian, who seems to be getting plenty of attention. I mean, it would be really morally bankrupt, wouldn't it, if, let's say, Adrian was a plant and Athena wasn't? and they're having a sexual relationship.
But that's what these shows do, don't they? I
I
know it's wrong. I'm with you. Totally with you. That's what they do, don't they? That's like what you sign up for, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And maybe they're never going to admit it, but we saw it with Love Island. Do you remember the first Aussie Love Island or the second one where it was them two, there was a lad and a girl who didn't date or anything, but in the context of the show acted like they didn't know each other, but yet there was someone that had a camera phone in the restaurant sat at the table with them when they were all discussing going into Love Island, one with an agent 2 or 3 months before. So for the whole journey in Love Island, unless it was the edit, we never got that. Oh,
they
we knew each
plans.
other.
They knew each other.
No, I know, but in this, what we were being shown on the screen, there was never any indication they knew each other. Was there? There was no love interest between them or anything like that. So that's what it's about. This is what this show is. Unfortunately, it is almost like a soap opera at times, isn't it? Hence why I was calling out Billy and that for bringing up that sort of crap.
Yeah, it was almost saying about that massaging bit. It's almost like he was treating it like a Bush Tucker challenge or something, wasn't it? It's like, yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, Chris, we know it's all fake. We know it's all producer led. We know all the people on there are not, or most of them are not there for what we would call the right reasons, but we still fucking love it. So roll on next week.
Yeah, I can't wait. But no, thank you so much, mate. And thank you to everyone this week. If you do want to see, and a few people were quite shocked at our dashing good looks, David, but if you do get over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast, myself and Dave actually got to meet up this week for a quick brew, didn't we, Dave, for the first time in about a year? Because unfortunately, we do live a few hundred miles away in the UK, even though we speak every day, text every day, wind each other up every day. That's exactly as friends should do that. But it's the first time we've met as well. So, no, for a year. So if you want to see us, well, first time we'd ever met, Dave. Even when we were in the band, we didn't even meet.
Yeah. All over Zoom.
Yeah, so we are on there. Some people were calling out my grey hair, Dave. I've got to say, it was actually the light. It is actually a brown blonde. Don't fucking answer that, Dave.
Not as good as the AI version.
Maybe you should have AI'd it. Oh, I'll tell you what, one last thing I noticed on what MAFS you've done with there, you've mentioned AI, and it's only a quick thing. But when Alexandra was with the guys and they were doing the intimacy stuff and we got the Ryan revelation, there was an AI type filter or some sort of filter on her when they panned back to her, almost like a cartoon like filter on the scene. It wasn't just on her, obviously they do, I do video editing, so you do color grading and all that, and you do try and bring, make things pop on the screen. And I'm a novice at it, I've only been learning it recently, but I can understand the concepts of it. But when it panned to the guys, obviously you're watching it 4K TV, all that sort of, it's in HD, I get it. But when it kept panning back to it, it was like when people put these weird filters on and it's got almost like a cartoon like filter, not as harsh as that, but I kept going, Sam going, that's some sort of AI or some sort of filter, or somebody in the editing has forgot to turn down some sort of color grading thing. I only a minor thing, Dave, but every time she was trying to be serious, it was taking me out and going, that looks fucking weird. Now, nobody probably would have noticed that, but maybe it's just because I'm doing and learning about this extra part of video editing. I don't know, but I don't know if you noticed that, Dave, or it's just me.
I didn't notice that, but we spoke about it last week, didn't we? Because my wacky theory was that when we get the experts and they're so-called commenting on the dinner party, and it looks as if it's real time. And I said last week, I'm not even sure they're watching the dinner party there, because when the camera is almost behind them, they're looking at the screen. But when you have a TV camera looking at another TV screen or something, it always looks a bit shit. So it's definitely added on in post. When they're looking at the TV screen, it's added on in post there. I don't believe that's the actual camera footage that we're seeing there. So what do you reckon? Did you look out for that this week?
Yeah, they did. You've ruined it. You've absolutely ruined it. And because I believe you. I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I genuinely do. it seems I've never noticed it before. And as much as, we're always think I'm a bit of a smart ass when it comes to these shows, and we both call it out and go, I don't think that he would even that. I have never doubted the validity of that. I'm not saying I'm not bothered if it isn't live and they are watching it afterwards, because that's probably realistic. I know I've said before, like, is it all filmed on the same day? And you said this a week, said, well, it must be, because they say it went on to the middle of the night. But I don't know. I don't want to watch it. I'm just like, is it just a blank screen with a teleprompt saying, right, be shot? Because that thing, I tell you why, and I looked back on last week's, and I did go back and watch it, was the situation with John when the couples who'd been dating previously, and he wasn't like John. He acted like really false and insecure. It was, I don't need to go, but it was dead weird the way he reacted. There's a couple here who've already dated, and it felt like he'd said that line about 10 times to get it right for the camera, and they're like, right, take two. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. But you've just ruined it, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I do think they're borderline actors, and it's just all, just the seams are all coming away from the edges. So I think the more we watch this show, the more kind of false it is. Like I say, it doesn't take away the fact that I'm still desperate to watch next week. I know exactly what they're doing, but I don't care as well. It's still a really well-made show. Very questionable characters, but I love it.
Yep, me too. Anyway, thank you for that, mate. So it took us on a tangent there. If you do want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. As always, please go over to Facebook. As I say, if you want to see mine and Dave's mugs on a picture, we are on that page. Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. Come and join us over there. We are over 800 friends over there now, so thank you so much, everybody. So let's hope by the end of this year, 2025, we may be at 1,000. That'd be ace. So please get over there. And there is episode links as well if you're outside the UK as well. So if you do support us, please go over to patreon.com/CD RealityCast. So the roll call of honour, and a big thank you to Darren, Anna, Tilly, Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen Sims, Nick, Danielle, Kim, Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Nicola, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Lauren, Lucky Luda Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support for myself and Dave as always. We really appreciate it.
That is great. And we've got to wait till tomorrow, unfortunately, until the commitment ceremony. But I might sneak over to YouTube and I might get that one in tonight. But then there's risk, isn't there? Like you say, that you might end up accidentally seeing something that from a future episode. So yeah, I've just very quickly tore myself out of that. But anyway, so thank you very much for that. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters. We'll speak to you next time.
Bye.